I'm Louisa Barton with the Horse Talk Show here at the Parellis farm in Ocala. Been chatting to Linda and Pat, two legends, globally superstars, helped 200,000 people plus, including me, with their program, their ideas, ways to start horses, ways to build trust with horses, horsenality, and all of those very important parts that growing up I didn't really know anything about. Fortunately, now we have access to some of the best teachers and programs in the world coming out of Parelli Natural Horsemanship. Been chatting to the Parellis a little bit, talked to Linda about the romance and how it all started. I'm going to hand the mic over to Pat and let him tell us about how he fell in love with Linda.
Well, this is my story, and I'm sticking to it. So and it's interesting how anybody's perspective of whether this. I've had people tell stories about me, and I was the main character, and I was like, I don't remember it like that at all. So I will leave it with that caveat. But I was with a friend of mine named Bob Berg, and a lot of people know him by Bob Berg's belt buckles. And anyway, and he was an old rodeo buddy of mine, and he's the one that was promoting me in Australia, and he was telling me where we were going to go on this particular tour, and I think this was the third tour, and maybe the second tour, but anyway, wherever we were going, and he said, and then we're going to go to Terry Hills, and I said, oh, okay. He said, that's really like the high-end part, just out of Sydney. And I said, oh, okay, cool. So we go to Terry Hills, and we drive through all this pretty nice neighborhood, and then the neighborhood kind of didn't get so nice, and then all of a sudden here we are at this kind of shabby looking place, and I was like, okay, here we are, and we drive in, and there's a few what they call floats, which would be a horse trailer and horse floats, and most of them were in a few trucks and stuff like that. When I mean trucks, they would haul the horses in a stock truck. And then here was a Range Rover with a nice new trailer and a really nice shiny horse, and Linda was dressed up very nicely, and everybody else looked like, they just got done doing the chores on the little farm somewhere. And I drove in, and I had 5 of my friends with me that they were on tour with me. And we drove in, and I looked over and saw who I found out to be later Linda, and I said, see that, boys? That's going to be trouble right there. Because I just went, if they're shiny on the outside, they're probably dirty on the inside. That's something I've noticed, because superficial, a lot of people want to look good and want their horse to look good and everything, but the behavior of the horses is not what's good. And so,
does that apply to horses too? Is they're shiny on the outside?
Well, that's yeah. So that's what is. So everything was,
About the horse.
Yeah. So everything was, just, nice vehicle, nice trailer. I mean, just not typical of the people that were the other 14 people in the clinic. So anyway, and it turns out this place was next to the dog pound, and it was kind of a thing, but it was an old place that at one time, Linda knew the history of the place. At one time had been, a place of note where I think Heath Harris had trained there.
Who trained Farlap.
Who trained Farlap, yeah. So anyway, on and on in the movie, the horse in the movie. So anyway, so out we go, and I went around the parking lot, and I said hi to everybody and shook hands and stuff like that, and then we got everybody in a line, and I started asking them about their horses, and Linda comes in with her horse, and it was bouncing. Everybody else's horse kind of walking around like they're old plugs, and Linda's horse is bouncing around. I said, why don't you stand on the end over there? And yeah, somewhere where this orangutan can not wipe anybody else out, because I figured if I'm going to lose one person, it's better than losing 14 people. And anyway, so one thing led to another, and we were going through the motions, and I gave everybody little tasks to do. And the first one was, can you throw the rope over the horse's back 6 times while he stands still? Not 6 times while he's running around, but 6 times while he's standing still. And then, of course, Linda told her part of the story already and said, that she had lost her patience already in just a few seconds, but it was longer than that. She was trying really hard, but the harder she tried, the more the horse moved. And I just was helping people and walking by, and I said, don't worry. I said, I've never seen this take longer than 2 days, She was like there. So anyways, I think she made a change right there, and she said, all right, this is going to happen. So she kind of hurry up and relaxed in a way or something. And then pretty soon she got the rope where she could throw it over his back and everything. But now, by the time an hour goes by, everybody else had gone through like 10 other exercises. She's still on exercise 1. So it's time to saddle up and ride, So I said, okay, is anybody here unwilling, is everybody here willing to get on their horse with just a halter and a lead rope, saddled? And everybody, yeah, that sounds fine. That's okay. And I said, is everyone ready to get on their horse and ride with just a halter and a lead rope? And, and I looked at Linda, I said, everyone? And yeah, I said, okay, here we go. So they had all practiced all these other things, bending their horses and stuff. So Linda gets on her horse, and this horse weighed 1,400 pounds. It was a great big thoroughbred. Had been on the track, and he was really thin-skinned and the kind of horse that just really perceived a lot of things in a skeptical light. And so anyway, Linda gets up there, and I'm saying, now everybody just bend your horse's neck and bring his head around and do this and do that. And then I said, now throw the rope over their head. And when she did, she kind of half threw it and went thunk, and it kind of thunked her horse in the head, and horse like that. And then when she threw it on over, it went on over and went around her leg, and then the horse kind of took off. And I was on a horse that I charged a little extra if I rode your horse. Well, they sent me this horse that bucked like crazy. And Sarah, Linda takes off on her horse, and I'm on the mic. I've got a microphone around my neck, and I'm running around trying to tell her to bend him and bend him. Well, I didn't realize she had a darn rope under her leg, and the horse I'm on's bucking the whole time, and I'm bucking around this arena trying to hem this horse up, and I'm, and I'm still rodeoing at this time. So I'm still riding and bucking and going and trying to get this horse under control. And finally, the horse runs down to the other end of the arena, comes up to the trailer or to the gate, and comes to stop, and she gets off and everything like that. And I told a guy named Wayne who was with us, I said, Wayne, just go over there and just escort her out and just give her money back, and let's just kind of keep everything going here. And then she evidently told him, so she just says, just help me get my crash helmet, my crash hat, she said, I think. And so next thing I know, I'm back on the 14. I'm doing the most for the mini. I said, well, okay, we lost that one. But so next thing I know, she's back in the arena, and she's back on, and she's bending that horse, and she's doing the exercises. And by the time it was going, she's riding around. By the time the afternoon was over, she's riding around with this one rein and making progress and relaxed. And I was really proud that she stuck with it. Anybody would, that had a kind of a traumatic exercise, especially trying something totally new, totally out of the box, And anyway, so one thing leading to another. After it was over, I went around and was talking to different people, and I stopped by her thing. She was kind of putting stuff up, and I asked her a few questions, what she does and that sort of thing, and how long she had horses, and she was a good rider, and and she was a good student. I mean, a great student.
And she was really beautiful.
Oh, absolutely, still is. And anyway, so that night I did a seminar, and there was a horse there named Snowball, and Snowball could snow. It was the only horse that I'd had in a long time that could jerk me off of my feet. And finally, I couldn't, with a 12-foot rope, I couldn't hold him anymore. And I went and got a 22-foot rope or something, and I finally had enough leverage I could hold on to him. And it was about trailer loading. Well, this horse had been a rental horse, and they told me later that the horse would go out, stop about a quarter of a mile away from the thing, and just back up all the way back to the barn. And no matter what they did, he was just we're going to stay straight, but we're going backwards anyway. So this horse was just like trying to bend an oak tree. And so anyway, I did that demonstration, and then we went over to the next day, and Linda came. And then the next day we went to Sydney to what's the name of the place where the Randwick, and we did something over there. Yeah, Centennial Park, something like that. Anyway, so Linda then. She was just coming to the one-day thing, and then she was that, and then the next day staying. And so by that time, that's when she asked me, she says, when are you coming back to Australia? I said, I'm not. The guy that's Bob Berg, who's running this, he can't do it anymore. And so, because he was planning on moving back over here to the United States or something. And she says, well, then I will. So anyway, but we, it was instant. As soon as we saw each other, it was mutual attraction, and it was really great.
That's awesome.
And I'm proud of her. But the best part is, I'm really love how she stayed with us, the philosophy, learning the concept, learning the theory, teaching the theory, and then, the details of execution. In the end, you have to ride your own horse. You have to make those decisions, and you got to do your thinking at night, and so you can execute in the moment, in the day. It's got to be deep in your heart and strong on your mind.
It's brilliant. I love it. What a great romance. More with the Parellis. I'm Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show.